Hey class, how are you doing today? My task is to talk to you about Chapter 7's homework tricks and tips. In Chapter 7, we are dealing with sampling. How do we use sample data to understand population parameters, or how to see the population parameters? Today, we're going to be using basically just that, a sample to understand the population. We're going to be looking at point estimates, the sample, to understand the population parameter. Basically, today, we're going to actually get into this topic of statistical inferences, using samples to understand or to get a picture of the population. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with you all, and we're going to jump into the tricks and tips of Chapters 7. So give me a second here. Let me share my screen with you all. All right, I'm going to hide this. So if you would, please go into Cengage, all right? And in the notes section of this video, you will be able to see where you can actually find these resources on our Trello board. So if you can't find this in your classroom, you can go on the Trello board and find this information there. All right, so what I want you all to do is go into course material of your class, all right? And then what we're gonna do is go into Cengage, MindTap. All right, so click on View Resources. Also, grab Chapter 7 Excel's template. It's somewhere on here, Chapter 7's Excel's template. All right, and we're going to use this Excel template. We're going to use or see how to do some tricks and tips and get this knocked out, hopefully at 100%. Let's go, let's go. Hopefully this will make sense to you. All right, so I have my Cengage right here. I'm going to click on Start. All right, and I've already downloaded my Excel. So what I'm going to do is a side-by-side. I'm going to do a split screen. And if you would, please, can we start off with 7.07, please? Bam. And it simply says this: the following data are from a simple random sample. This is sample data right here. What is the point estimate of the population mean? Basically, what is the sample that depicts what the population mean should be? So in yours, please type in your numbers, please. So I'm going to do Waka. Remember, junk in equals junk out. Take your time plugging these in. All right, so what is the point estimate? So grab this right here. All right, I think I didn't grab it all. All right, so let me delete that again. Let me grab it all like that, copy it, and I'm gonna paste that. All right, what is the range? If you double click on range, you can grab your range's numbers, all of the numbers that are associated with this sample. And it's that simple. That's the point estimate of the mean. What is the point estimate of the population standard deviation? Same concept. Grab this, copy this, paste that up in there. Give me my range, man. Bam. And you will have your answer. So I'm just going to plug in this first one, check my work. Let's go, let's go, let's get that A. All right. So now let's go over to 7.09, please. Same concept, 7.09. All right. You guys should be able to do this. So on this one, a simple random sample, we're always using random data, all right, of 5 months of sales data provided the following information. So these are the units sold, all right, based on each month. All right, so plug in your information, please. All right. And what I did here, I changed it to the sample instead of the range. Same concept though, copy it, paste that up in there. What is my average numbers? All right, so click from 99 all the way down. Cool. Standard deviation, same concept. Grab that, paste that up in there, and we should be good. All right, so plug in your numbers, check your work. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, so when we're dealing with sample in, it's a pretty simple concept. Can we find the sample to understand the population parameter? All right, so now let's go over to 7.13, please. All right. All right. It's the last one. Perfect. All right. So with these, you guys can take your time and actually read through these problems. These problems are good examples that you guys will see in the business world. So read through them, get the concept on how they're asking it. So when you show up, you can basically be asking the same types of questions. All right. So, but for this, what I'm going to do is fly through this and actually just pull out the main parts of this information that I need. All right. So in here, the Pew Internet and American Life Project asked 743 teens. As soon as I hear asked, it's like a question. It's like a poll. All right. This is my sample size. All right. And the count for response is what do they respond? So the results show that 602 say social media makes them feel more connected. So in this example, it's going to be 602 for the first one. All right, they feel more connected. All right, the second sample size is 513. Say social media helps them interact with a more diverse group of people. And then your sample size 3 is 275 feel pressured to post content that will get a like or a lot of likes and comments. We all experience that, right? So 275. So we got our sample size. Now, how do we calculate our proportion? Remember, proportion is your small number divided by the total sample size. All right. So in this first example, it's like this. Copy this, paste that. What is my count for response 1? Double click and grab it. All right. Oh, I didn't finish yet. What is my sample size? It's N1. All right. So basically, for my first one, I'm looking at 81%. And they want 4 decimal places, 4 decimal places. So just check your work. All right, perfect. And the rest of them follow the same pattern. All right. So for this one, I got that. I got my sample size. What is your count for response on the second one? All right. Develop a point estimate. All right. All right. So here is my, actually, I kind of put this in the wrong place. Instead of 5, this should be my count for response. So this number should be 513. This number right here is 743. This number right here is 275. This number right here is 743. So once you have this, you should be able to calculate the rest of these. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, let's move on to 7.17, please. I believe that was one of my first ones. Let me see. Yes, good memory. All right, so please read through this to kind of get the good understanding of it. Well, I can quickly see, yo, what is my sample size? That's N. Be aware that N represents your sample size. If you still don't remember it, type in here, you know, sample size. And then you can put parentheses to represent N, however you want to do it. All right, but in my example 42, what is my standard deviation? All right, population standard deviation. Make sure that you know that this symbol represents standard deviation. In my case, it is 10. All right, so how do I calculate it? What population size is infinite? On this example, we provide you both the infinite formula and the finite formula. Finite is an exact number. Infinite is a series of numbers that could be ongoing forever and ever and ever. All right, so here is my formula right here. Grab it, copy it, paste it. All right. And all I need to do is, what is my standard deviation? Double click on it, highlight standard deviation, grab my standard deviation's number. Double click on N, grab my N's number. Once I got that, wacka, I should be able to plug that in and I'll be good to go. All right. How do you know to use the finite or the infinite formula? Infinite is just the sample size. The finite is your N value. If they provide you an N value, you know that you're using your finite formula. And note to self, an infinite is if your N divided by your capital N is less than or equal to 0.05. So if this N divided by your capital N is equal to or is less than 0.05, then you know that you're using the infinite formula down here. So watch this. So on here, I got what, 50,000? Cool. All right. So which formula do I use when I press enter? You saw that number is less than 0.05. So now I know I'm using my infinite formula down here. So grab it, copy it, paste it. All right. I'm going to maximize this. Let me escape out of this. All right. I'm going to hide that again, so you guys can actually see this. I'm not sure if it's going to go big. It's going to be choked in there. All right. So an easier way for you to see this, if this confuses you right here, because it's too combined or cropped, all right, you can use up here as well. So you can double click on N1 and it highlights the entire N1. Click the N1's number. Double click on N. It highlights N, grab your N's number. N1, all right, standard deviation, grab it. Leave the SQRT, that's the function of your square root. So just grab your N value, double click on it, all right, and grab your N's value, press enter, and that should be your answer. So I'm gonna leave this up here so you guys can see this for a second. That's what it should look like. All right, and I'm gonna drag this over and plug in that same number. Now that you got the concept for this one, change it to 5,000 and see if this number changes. All right, so I believe that this one will be on your exam, so make sure that you get this concept down packed. All right, in this guy right here, it will be 5,000. All right, you should be able to calculate your standard error. This one right here is 500. All right, and you should be able to get your calculations for the remaining of these. Make sure you set this up correct. You want to be able to replicate this on your exam, or if you were to see this problem in a similar environment, wherever God places you. All right, excellent work. Let's move over to 7.22, please. 7.22. All right, right here. All right. So once again, I'm just going to look for the quick numbers and I'm going to work the problem for you. All right, or with you. And I want to show you some tricks and tips. What you always want to do is document your known goods. Document what you know. So in here, we got 33%. All right, cool. Adjusted gross income lower limit. Actually, let me make sure. Yep, all right, good. All right, so the adjusted gross income is, give me a second, is the lower limit is $30,000 in my example, and my upper limit is 60,000. All right, And then if you look through here, you'll see the mean is whatever number, plug it in. What is your standard deviation? This symbol represents your standard deviation, 2090. All right. So then the question is, what is your sample size? It says, if you read through here, we'll follow a sample mean of within 195. That is your within value, 195. All right, of the population mean for each of the following sample sizes. So in essence, you're going to have to do the sample size 4 times. All right, so the first sample size is 30. What is your probability? All right, so round your answers to 4 decimal places. But in order to find your probability, it's a 2-step process. First, find your standard error, then find your probability. Here's my standard error formula right here. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. And what is my standard deviation? Grab it. What is my sample size? Grab it. All right, and then press enter. Cool, this is my standard error. What is my probability? It is this big one right here. Grab it all. Remember, when we're dealing with probability between 2 numbers, 30,000 to 60,000, what is the probability in between? You must do the larger probability first, all right, minus your smaller probability. So in my example, I'm going to copy this formula. I'm going to paste it over here, all right? Watch how this works, please. If I double click on my X2, all right, what is my upper limit? All right, I get this number right here. How did I get this number? Remember, the within is within 195 of the mean. So you have to go minus 195 of the mean and plus 195 of the mean. That's how you get your X1, the lower boundary, and the upper boundary. All right, so then here you always start off with the upper boundary because you're doing the range. You're trying to find the probability within a range of numbers. It's always larger minus smaller. So what is my X2 value? Double click on X2 and grab my X2's number right here. Double click on my mean and grab my mean's number. Don't be mean. Double click on my standard error and grab my standard error's value right here. All right, that's the first one, minus the small value, the mean, and the standard deviation. And it always ends in true. All right, so once we have that, here is my first number, 0.3907. All right, now the cool part about Excel is once you have a process that works, you can use that process over and over and over again without having to go through the calculations over and over again. So the cool part with this is, let me at least check my work just to make sure I got it right. Cool. So this system that I set up right here works effectively. Now in Excel, if I were to change this to my next number, 50, watch how automatically it updates my probability values. Bam, 0.4906. Am I right? Could it be just that? Yes, it is just that easy. So when you guys show up to the exam, what we're hoping is that you have a system in place that can be replicated. So all you're basically doing is plugging in your numbers. Because when you get into the real world, you don't have time to calculate this over and over and over again. All you want is a system to just change one number and get your answer. You know what you're doing works. So you can change this to 100. You will get your answer, plug it in. You can change it to 400, plug it in, get your answer. All right, and then you guys should be able to answer this first question. All right, I'm gonna do the last one so I can answer this question. You guys are gonna see how that works. This is 400. All right, so this guy would be 0.9380 in my case. All right, so basically on these two right here, what they're asking is, what is it at? What is the probability for a sample size of 30? So 0.3907, What is it for a probability or a sample size of 400? What is the probability? 0.9380. Let's check our work just to make sure we're good. Looks good, looks good. Bam, bam, bam. Outstanding. Make sure you plug it into your Excel so that way you know what the smallest value is and what is your probability of your larger value, and you should be good to go. All right. Let's go over to 7.25, please. From hit or fort is basically the same pattern over and over and over again. All right, so 25, where did I see that? Right there. All right, so I'm just gonna make this a tad bit smaller so I can see it all. What is my mean? You can look in there and see that the mean is 273. So some of you guys are gonna put 217. No, that's just the federal income tax for the year 217. The mean is actually 273. What is the standard deviation? Quickly look, my standard deviation is 100. Cool. I'm gonna look, what is my first sample size of 30? Plug it in. Cool, what is my within? Oh, 16. All right, so I got my values. First find the standard error, then find your probabilities. Just that simple, y'all. Grab this, copy that, paste that up in there. What is my standard deviation? Double click and highlight it, grab the number. Double click, highlight, grab, and 1. Bam. All right, what is my probability? It's the range of my smaller minus the range of my bigger, or my bigger minus the smaller. So X2, grab it. Mean, grab it. Standard error, grab it. This guy right here. All right, X1, grab it. Mean, grab it. Standard error, grab it. Bam. This is my answer for this first one right here. So 61% or 62% if I were to round it up. Check my work. Cool. Watch this, y'all. They're changing just the sample size. Now, you guys can plug in right here. It's going to be 50. 50. This one here is going to be 100. All right. And you can go through this process again and again and again. But why, man? All you need to do is change the sample size up here to 50 for the first one, and automatically this is going to update. Watch. Oh, sorry, enter. Bam, 74%, 0.7421. All right, and then if I change this sample size to 100, bam, 89%, 0.8904. Check my work. Guys, you want to find the quickest and easiest way to get your answers. Yes, you can lay them out like this, get them all in there. That's cool, right? But you already got a system that works. Why go through all of that all again? All right, change your numbers, get your probabilities between those values, and you're golden. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, let's go over to 07.27, please. All right, where did I see that? 128. All right, there we go. All right, simple on this one. Like we're doing all throughout this entire class. Document what you know. Sample size of 100. Come on, come on, come on. Your p-value is, I can't see it. So let me make it just a tad bit smaller here. All right, 0.4. All right, this one's a little wonky, but they're all asking the same thing. What is your EP bar? What is the expected value? E, expected probability value or average or mean, all right? This is equal to P. It's the same as your p-value. All right, how do you calculate your standard error? Here's the formula, copy it, paste it, double click on P. You can grab your P's number. You can grab this P or this P, either one. Just be consistent across the board. I'm just gonna go up here, bam. Double click, bam. My sample size up here, bam. All right, what is my sigma P bar? is the same as my standard error. So this is equal to this. All right, and then you guys can answer this last question right here. So mine is going to be 0.4, 0.049. All right, and then I'm going to check my work. And actually, I'm just going to plug in. So I got my P, I got B, I got C. Okay, so this worked out to be, all right, so on this, instead of D, I should have made that C2 or something like that. Once again, make this do what it do for you. All right, I will just take that out. What is my EP bar? All right, it's the same as this number up here. So this is equal to this. So it will be 0.0490. And you should be able to get that last one. And you're good to go. All right. Make this Excel do what it do for you. Make it make sense to you. If there's something that the way the book words it that doesn't make sense, write it out. Double click in there and type in a message so that you can remember what exactly it's talking about. All right. Outstanding. Let's go over to 07.28, please. I think that was the last one. Bam. All right. So I'm going to make that bigger so I can see it. Am I going to see it all? I think so. Yes. All right. So let's do this really fast. What is my proportion, my p-value? 0.3. Cool. What is my sample size? 200. Cool. Plug in your numbers, please. What is my within? Do you see a within a plus or minus 0.04? All right. Once you have that, you can calculate your standard error and your probability. So here's my standard error. Hopefully you guys are seeing the same pattern over and over again. You copy that, you paste that in there, double click on P, grab your P, double click on P, grab your P, double click your N, grab your N's value. All right, so here is my standard error, but they want the probability. So grab this formula right here, copy it, and paste. What is your P2's value? Double click it, grab your P2's value, bam. What is your mean? Guys, this is vitally important that you remember this. Your mean is the same as your P value. So click it. Your mean is the same as your P value. What is your standard error? Grab it. And it's true. P1, grab it. Mean is the same as your P value. Standard error, grab it. All right, so it should look like this. And it ends in true. Enter that. Guys, you have to make this Excel do what it do for you. I will put mean is the same, is equal to my P. So that way you don't forget it. Where do you find this mean value? The mean is the same as your P value. All right, make it do what it do for you. So in this example, I'm looking at 78%. And they want how many decimal places? 4 decimal places. Check your work. Bam. In this one, they're changing their withins. They're changing it from 0.04 to 0.08. All right, so I'm going to change this to 0.08. Enter. All right. Can you guys calculate your standard error? Can you calculate your standard error and then ultimately calculate your probability? All right, I believe you can. You're going to still be using the same standard error up here. All right, you're going to be using the new p-value, P1 and P2, and you should be able to get your answer right here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, we're almost done. We're almost done. Let's go to, let me make sure that is the next one. Yep, let's go to 07.35, please. Hopefully you're seeing these patterns over and over and over again. All right. So in this example, what you're looking for, what is my p-value? A decimal value, 0.83. Cool. What is my sample size? 200. What is my within? All right, within 0.06 is way down here in the letter B. All right, the question for number B. So I know my within is going to be 0.06. Once I got that, please note to self that this will be on your exam. So make sure that you get this template correct. All right, how do I calculate my EP bar? It's the same as my P. So equals to this number right here. Click it. So don't mess that up on the exam. What number goes there? It is your p-value or your proportions value. Just check your work just to make sure. Cool. How do you find your standard error? When you see sigma p-bar, that represents your standard error. It's simply this formula right here. Copy it, paste it, leave the square root alone. That's the function. All right. So double click on P, grab your P's number. Double click on P, P's number, double click on N, grab your sample size. All right. So once you do that, give me a quick second. Yes, I will update you. All right. Have a great day. All right. All right. So once you have that, you should be good to go. You have your standard error. Now you can calculate your probability. All right, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste that up there. All right. What is my P2? Grab it. What is my mean? My mean is the same as my p-value. Standard error, grab it. P1, mean. Where's my mean? P-value. And my standard error is this guy right here. Press enter. So let's plug in what we know. My standard error is 0.0266. Cool. My probability is 0.9761. Check my work. All right, outstanding. We got this. Now, here, all they're doing is changing the sample size. All right. Now, you guys could have just went in here and changed the sample size and got your answer. But for the exam, make sure that you have a second system in place. Your N2 in this example is 420. All right. What is your EP bar? What is your standard error? What is your probability? Please make sure that you plug those in. All right. So my EP bar is equal to my p-value. Click it. All right. How do I calculate my standard error? I'm going to grab this, copy that, paste that. What is my p? You can grab your p down here. What is my p? Grab it. What is my N2? Grab it. Enter. All right. So we can start plugging that stuff in. 0.83. Cool. 0.0183. Plug in your numbers, please. And then we can grab our probability. All right, so what is my P2? Grab it. What is my mean? My mean is the same as my p-value. All right, so I'm just going to click this one right here, standard error, that guy right there. P1, mean, and my standard error. All right, so once I have all of that, I got my numbers. I'm going to type in 0.9989. All right. And I'm just going to check my work just to make sure I got my system set up correctly for both of them. Bam, bam, bam. So now this part for E, make a note to self. I'm going to maximize this. What is wrong here? Here is my formula, reduced by, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this in here. All right. So what is wrong with this formula? Do you see how it's blue right here and it's blue right and it's red right here? Something is wrong with this formula. Make it do what it do for you. Make it correct, make it right. So in essence, it should not be B10 and B17. A quick way of doing this, you can just drag it down. It should be B11, just go to the line itself. It changes to a move, and then you drag it down. It should be B11 to B18, all right? And what you're looking at, did this number and this number, did this number increase? All right, so what did it reduce by? You're gonna see a negative number. They do not want the negative number on the exam. They want the positive number or the number that it's reduced by. In essence, really and truly, this should be your larger number minus your smaller number. This should be this number minus this number, all right? So you could either do the absolute to change this to a positive number, all right? But what is it reduced by, all right? I would put something like, I told one of my classes to use ABS, all right, to make it absolute. But just like with range, you always want the larger number minus the smaller number, all right? But in essence, what you're seeing is that this and this number increased from this. So you can put ABS, the absolute, that's how you do absolute in Excel, to give you the positive. What did it increase by? All right. So in my formula itself, make it right, y'all. This should be B11. This should be B18. All right. And for me, I like to put it down within that row. So I press Alt and Enter for my Windows users. For my Mac users, press Option and Enter, and it drops it down. And my formula that I use to make this absolute is ABS, open parentheses, and then close parentheses. All right, so I would now change this. Once I have this correct, make sure you get this correct. Once I have this correct, I would say, let me see, increased. All right, because that's going to be your precision, all right, or something like that. Some note to yourself to make sure that you understand what is happening here. So if I go back to Cengage, all right, this number is 0.023, all right. There is a gain in precision. There is a gain in precision by what? By increasing the sample size or decreasing the sample size. Make sure you know which answer is correct, plug it into your Excel, and you should be golden. On this, I'm going to check my work just to make sure that this is correct. And it absolutely is. Come on, let's go. Make sure that you have this Excel template, especially for 07.35 algorithmic, correct. All right. This one is an example of one that you will see on the exam. Last but not least, 07.37, please. Let's go there. All right. So we see that we're spending, we got 17%. That is actually your P value. Your P is equal to 0.17. Actually, your P is 0.17. All right, you're spending $100 per week. All right, what is your sample size? A simple random sample of 800. All right, that's a pretty big sample size. And I'm also looking for my within. All right, my within can be seen, this plus or minus 0.02. Plug in yours, please, 0.02. All right, so once I have that, the same concept over and over again. Find your p-value. Once again, your e bar or p or e p-bar value is the same as your p. All right, make a note to yourself. Your p-value is the same as your mean. So that way you don't forget it. All right, find your standard error. then find your probability. By now, you guys should be able to do this, all right, and get that rocking and rolling. So class, basically, that is my tips and tricks of Excel for chapter 7. We're taking a sample to understand what is happening with the population. You can do this. You can then calculate your probability between 2 points. All it is to first find your standard error, then find your probability. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's get that A.